Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about some of us and how we collect cars. So, some of us collect cars, some of us collect regrets. Today, we're talking about what makes us keep certain cars and sell others. And John and I have some particular stories that we're going to talk about where we talk about just that. What cars
Absolutely.
mean the most to us and why we kept them, and some of the cars that we regretted selling. So, what makes someone a collector? Like, are they collecting from nostalgia? Are they collecting from a love of engineering? And where does it all start? So, I mean, the easiest question is, we'll start with John, right?
Right.
When did you realize that you were starting to collect cars? You weren't just owning cars, because I think there's a point where we've all had a daily, we've all had one car, this and that. And for you and I, especially, we've gotten to that point where like, okay, well, this is one I'm never getting rid of, but I
Right.
don't want to drive it all the time. So I'm going to get another one, right? And then you get another one for a reason. You're like, well, this is one that I really like for this particular reason. So I'm not going to get rid of this one, but now I need something to drive on a daily. So
It just gets out of hand.
Yeah.
The snowball effect, if you will. But yeah, man. So, I could start off with the Viper. I mean, that's a prime example of like a car that I don't know that I'll ever sell. It has a lot of sentimental value. It has a lot of, I love the car for
Yeah.
all the reasons that the car is not, it's not just a car that you hop in and you go. It's an event. You had to plan for it. I got to get it off the lift. It's a whole thing. And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, this dude, the lift, all that. No, trust me, you put a car on a lift, it's the last car you're going to drive.
Yeah.
But if you're making the effort to drive it, you're moving another car out, you're pulling it down, you're taking it for a ride. And honestly, man, every time I drive it, it's like, it just brings it back. It's like, man, that's the car that started the collection. And I didn't know when I bought that car that I'd want to collect cars. I thought this is my stepping stone to a Lamborghini or a stepping stone to another car. And then every time I'd go and try to buy another car, I'd be like, well, I really like that car. We're just going to keep that car. And then we're going to
Yeah.
add. And then
So
next thing
for
you know,
those of them
it's
who
been a
don't
lot.
know, tell everybody the story of how you ended up with a Viper, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of a cool story because that was almost how you and your wife kind of started off your relationship, really.
It was our
right?
first trip together, yeah. So I met my girlfriend at the time, and I woke up on a Saturday, and I had been looking at Vipers and off and on, and kind of like, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it. And I was getting ready for a deployment, and I was like, well, I'm going to have some money. I might as well make this bad financial decision, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm preparing for the deployment, and the Viper came up, and it was like I'd been searching them and talking to this dealer, and we'd been working together, and finally, he texted me one morning and he's like, dude, this is the car. It was a low mile. It's a perfect example. And I had wanted a black car. So I was all about black cars at the time. I wanted a black car and just thought it looked like like a night rider, you know what I mean? Or something
Yeah.
like that. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, so I got to have a black car. And he goes, dude, it's not black. I'm like, well, then call me back. and so I show it to my girlfriend at the time, which is Jessica.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what do you think of the silver with the black top and black wheels? And she goes, actually, I like that better than a black car. And I'm like, now the wheels are turning, and I'm like, well,
Yeah, I mean, I think I
kinda dig
agree,
the
right? I
silver.
mean, obviously hindsight, right? But I think I agree because black with the black top, black wheels, yeah, it would look cool, but I think yours has more like presence. You can see the body lines better,
yeah, I agree. And it would have blended all the things that stand out in the car. Anyways, long story short, and I'm making it a long story, sorry. But no, so I wake her up on a Saturday and I'm like, hey, I need you to take me to Florida to pick this car up. And it was in Orlando, which is like from us, like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
And she's a trooper, man. She goes and gets her oil changed that morning and to take me down there. And I'm like, sweet. And,
Nice.
so we took her little Mazda hatchback and she drove me down there. And the reason why we had to take the car is because I got the stock wheels with it that I have never put on the car.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the stock wheels came with the car, and I was like, oh, I'll get those because they, you need the stock wheels for, no reason at all.
Yeah,
Rather
to
just sit in
resell
my
it,
garage.
right? To resell
Yeah.
it, you need the stock wheels. So, and we'll kind of talk on that a little bit eventually, but John does have a few sets of everything, I guess you'd say, in the garage, even for vehicles he doesn't currently own.
Yeah.
So, tell everybody why the Viper, right? Why the Viper? Why not a Lamborghini? Why not a Ferrari? Why not a McLaren? right? Why was it the Viper that you particularly were looking for?
So I had these at the time. I was looking for a car that was over 500 horsepower
Mm-hmm.
because at that time that was a lot of horsepower. I
Yeah.
was looking for a car that was low production numbers and I'm trying to think of the other thing. Mainly just like I wanted a good driving experience. And the Viper, everybody says, "Hey, it's going to kill you." Well, I just want to find out, will it? And obviously, I've made it since 2015. I've had this car, so yeah. And so I had never driven one. I had ridden in one. A buddy of mine had one when I was like in high school and stuff, and so I got to ride in it like around the block, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a Gen 4, and I was like, well, I really like that generation. I wanted a coupe, couldn't afford a coupe at the time, so I bought a convertible. And honestly, I like it because of that. It's
Yeah, I like it
different.
too.
You put the top down, it's fun. So yeah, I mean, and just got really lucky with that price on the car at the time and all that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the Aston, right? I'll never sell the Aston. The Aston was my first proper, exotic car slash supercar. It's funny because I wasn't looking for it, right? I mean, I was not looking for an Aston. I was ready to buy my first exotic car, and I looked at all kinds of different cars. I was mainly looking for a McLaren, and I did a swing and a miss like 2 or 3 times trying to get a McLaren, and literally ended up at the dealership looking at 2 used McLarens, and they brought me out back and they were like, "Hey, we want to show you something cool." And they showed me this car, and I mean, I didn't even know what to do. I wasn't planning on, you know, on buying an Aston at the time. I'd never seen that one, but I fell in love with it instantly. And it's just one of those cars that even when the new Aston came out, I went to the configurator and I spec'd it in the same spec that mine has, and kind of like upped it a little bit, right? To where I was like, oh, well, I'll do, all carbon here and all carbon there, and I'll do this upgrade. And part of me is like, I just don't care. I just don't care that the new one has more horsepower. I just don't care that the new one has more carbon bits. At the end of the day, I really love that car. And, that car was a 2020. It's a 22. I got it in 21. And it's still one of my most complimented cars I own. And what's really funny about that car is, everybody thinks it's a lot more expensive than it actually is, right?
Right.
And I will tell you that car was really kind of a life-changing event for me, right? When I bought that car, it changed everything about like who my friend groups were and what, what I was doing and what I was into. And I really appreciate that, honestly, because it changed a lot about who I am and who I'm friends with. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have this podcast. We probably wouldn't have even met each other if it wasn't for that car.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. And same thing. We probably wouldn't have met if I didn't have the Viper, because I met John, the friend, that our mutual friend, through a Viper friend, and it was like that car kind of linked us all together, and here we are, Two Car Guys podcast. Yeah, it's wild, man.
It is really wild, and so what's kind of funny to me is ever since then, it's kind of kicked something off where I do seek out unique stuff, right? Like I don't want to have the same car that everybody else has. That's why when the opportunity came up to get the Valentino Rossi car, it was a no-brainer for me. Like I think I told the story, I went down there to try and get information on the car, and they were like, yeah, never seen it, never heard of it. We're not going to get one. And then all of a sudden they send me a video of them walking around the car, and I was like, oh. And I literally got in the truck and started driving with no plan. Like no plan. I didn't know where I was going to put the car. I didn't know if I was going to trade something in. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I had to see it. Yeah. And then when I got up there, I had already talked to like 5 different people, and I had, half the camp was trying to talk me out of getting it. Half the camp was trying to talk me into getting it. Yeah. And that's another one of those cars. It was the best decision I ever made. I mean, the relationships I've made with BMW, the things that I've been able to do because of those relationships and because of the car by itself have been absolutely incredible. So, and I mean, on that same topic, we have some really cool stuff coming to the channel because of the stuff that's happening with BMW. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was just very crazy. But you know, I bought a couple weird ones in the middle, right? I bought the Rossion Q1. That was a whim car, right? That was one of those cars. I was actually I was searching on one of the, you know, main sites for a Ferrari 458, and I found a silver one at a local dealership, and in the background of the picture was the Rossion, and I knew what it was,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, I wonder if that's for sale. And I went to their website, and it was for sale. And I was in Florida with a friend of mine, and I literally, as soon as I came home, I drove right to a dealership, and I was like, tell me about the car, tell me what's going on with it, tell me what you got going, you know. And I ended up picking that up, and it was cool because it was rare. It was cool because it was unique. It was cool because, you know, it did the clamshell opening in the front and the back, and, you know, kind of did the whole like transformer thing, and everybody thought it was a cool car. But the problem with that car was it had all kinds of little gremlins, you know, just like the gauges, you know, the fuel gauge didn't work. It, you know, blew hot air when you're driving down the road, and, you know, the windows leaked when it rained and all that stuff. But it was cool, you know, for the moment, you know.
Right. Well, you learn from it. And that's the biggest part of, I think, in collecting, because I mean, I've had some cars that I had to learn from to end up with the cars we have now. And the collection's still changing. I still want to add this and sell that, and, you know, it's every day. So, you know, I get it.
And I mean, when it comes down to like what to buy, right? So that's where things get really difficult, because I'd like to buy stuff that no one else has for multiple reasons, right? Because one, I like unique things, and two, you know, I really like almost kind of like the hunt of finding unique specs and cool cars.
Right.
But we run into issues, right? And I mean, you've helped yourself to a degree,
right?
But, you know, we got to think about space, right? Where are you going to put these things, right? The maintenance on the cars. If you have multiple cars,
100%,
you've got to worry about how long do they sit? I mean, are they on a battery tender? You know, how often are you changing the oil and the fluids in these cars?
Absolutely.
And then really budget trade-offs, right? I mean, at some point, we always joke about the PFB, the Price Family Budget, right?
Price Family Budget, yes, sir.
Yeah, is that car in the PFB, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one thing to buy a car and go out and buy the coolest whatever. It's another thing to own it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a whole nother beast, man. And if you don't think about that at the upfront part of buying it, it's going to hurt you on the backside.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and I mean, when I think about, I made this joke to you a long time ago. When I think about like what my collection ultimately wants to look like, right?
Yeah.
I think about like garage philosophy. I think that's a good term for it. But garage philosophy, I think about, you know, are people going for brand loyalty? Are people going for diversity? Are people going for performance? Are people going for rarity? I think I'm attacking rarity and diversity. I make the joke all the time that now I have two blue cars. I got to get rid of one of them, you know, or I got to wrap one of them or something, right?
Yeah.
Because I've told you a million times that my ultimate goal, if money was no object, I'd love to have a garage that looks like Skittles, just every color under the rainbow in there,
Absolutely.
right? The funny thing is, we've got friends of ours that are brand loyal, right? They have 4 or 5 different models from the same brand. We have some people that are, you know, all over the place, but all they're concerned about is performance. Is it, you know, the Turbo S and the 765 and the Revuelto and you know, and the Tesla Plaid, right? They want all of the fastest cars,
max performance.
Yes,
of each
they
car.
want all the big daddies of every car, because that's what they're currently after.
Right.
I'm after, you know, and when I think about what my collection wants to be, is I want to collect based on what I think is interesting, right? I'm not collecting to make other people happy. I'm collecting to make myself happy.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I was thinking about it the other day. I'd love to have one of every brand from F1, right? I'd love to have an Aston, a McLaren, a Ferrari, a Cadillac, right?
Yeah. Honda.
I mean, a Honda. No, really, right? A Honda, a Toyota. You know, and try to get all these cool brands, and now they got Audi in there too, so that would be an easy one. But bring them all together so that I have, you know, we can literally go out to the garage and basically pick from any one of the cars that you can find on the F1 circuit. So I think that would be cool. But I mean, John, what are you going after? Like,
Yeah,
because
so
your thing is diverse. Now
diverse. Yeah.
I know for a fact that John goes after a good deal on Facebook Marketplace every once in a while.
I can get sucked into a good deal, and that can be a problem. And sometimes it's not even about the money of the car. Like I've got a $4,500 car and I've got a $200,000 car, so it's like, it doesn't change for me about the value of the car. For me, I'm going after a different experience. I want to get in a different car and it be a completely different experience than the car I just got out of. And I think that's kind of the big part for me. Like I don't want to get in and everything's the same. I want to get in and it's completely different. And then I'm like, oh, or I'm higher, or I'm way lower. It's just I like that right now. Now I do like the rare cars. I've gotten more into that too. I think with the Aston. And with the Viper, still a pretty rare car. I mean, it's one of 36,000 ever made Vipers for the whole production run, and it's one of 800 in silver. So I mean, it's if you want to do the Corvette math, it's a one of one, right?
Corvette
math. Right. But no, I mean, even then, like I like a different experience. So for me, it's just I'd like a track toy, I'd like a daily, I'd like a truck, an off-roader, and a luxury car, and a sports car, and one that does both. So that's my collection at the moment.
I mean, if you could only keep 3 cars, right, and we can include the ones you have now, and maybe a couple that you would like to get down the road. If you could keep 3 cars, what would they be and why?
If I could only have 3 cars, including 3 that I already have, or what?
Or if you could only have 3 cars, period. If you could, either keep 3 of the ones you have and just keep them forever and add to the collection, or if you could, keep 1 and then add 2 to the collection that you'd never sell, what would they be?
Right. So I'd keep the Aston for sure. Maybe the Viper. As much as I love the Viper and I want to make it like the car, there's better Vipers, and so I'd be cool with upgrading the Viper to like a Gen 5 ACR Extreme Aero. That'd be premium.
Yeah.
But and then as far as the daily or something like, I'd have to have a daily. So I'd probably do a truck or something like that. Probably a TRX. So that'd be my collection. I would love to have a McLaren or an exotic. I don't have a real crazy exotic. I'd like to get one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I definitely keep the Aston forever. That's not a question. Yeah. Part of me would like to keep the Rossi car forever, just because it means a lot to me. And again, it was an entrance into the brand that I never saw coming, and one that I am eternally grateful for. Yeah. And so, I mean, the only other car outside of that I would be like, oh my God, if I got my hands on this, right, I would never let it go, would probably be a Ford GT.
Yeah,
and
that'd be cool.
And I will tell you, I just saw a Ford GT Mark 7, which is the race version of that car, sell at Barrett Jackson for $550,000. And Adam was a little upset that was not on his radar. Yeah.
I'll say this: the other day, I actually talked to a guy that buys and sells a lot of Ford GTs, but he also buys and sells a lot of Vipers. And I literally messaged him in his little
2-car deal.
I was like, "Hey, question for you: do you ever think the Vipers will come up to the Ford GT level, like the OG Ford GT, like the 05, the supercharged, the 100 in the headlight car?"
Maybe.
And he said, "What's that?"
Maybe.
Yeah. He kind of said this. He said the build quality is completely different between the two.
Yeah.
The Ford GT is definitely built better. And
100%.
And I get that. And it's proven over time that, Dodge is still a Dodge, right? Chevy's still a Chevy. It is what it is.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, is it a cool car? Is it a really capable car? Absolutely. So, I think that's the big difference there. But we'll see,
So we've all sold some cars, right? There have been some cars that we've gotten rid of, and back obviously before our current situation, right? I mean, in order to get into the next car, you had to sell the previous car.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any car that you've had that you've regretted selling, and what was it? I mean, really, sometimes you don't realize how much a car means to you until you see somebody else driving.
Dude, that's when it hits another level. The white DB9, Aston Martin DB9, was my first exotic car.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best example, and I thought, well, for the money in the future, I can buy a better example, and that ended up happening, thank goodness. But when I sold that car for the first like year of it being gone, I tried to buy it back like 4 times, and I tried to make a deal. I couldn't put anything together, and that's fine. That's life. But it actually ended up, I took, how I am with my cars, man. I take really good care of them, and they're like
Yeah.
babied and all this stuff. And when I sold it, I got a phone call, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, man, I think I see your Aston parked outside of this house, just outside on the road." And I was like, "Nah, man, it can't be my car."
You're like,
Ride
no.
by, absolutely. I've been sitting there for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the battery died in the car on the street with the seat all the way back, and the girl couldn't figure out how to get the seat out to fix it. And that's life, man. It is now somewhere in Atlanta. I'm hoping to see it again. I know the wheels have changed to like DBS wheels, and I'm hoping to see it again out in the wild. And at this point, I'm very happy with the Aston I have, but that car has some nostalgia to me that I'd probably be like, "Hey, man, what's your number?" and try to get it back.
Yeah. No, I get
yeah.
that. It's funny because I do regret getting rid of the Roush, but I know it was the right move, right? I mean, it was a crazy awesome truck because it was like essentially built to spec, 650 horsepower, supercharged, had everything on it. I mean, it was a sick truck. But I knew it was the right time to get rid of that truck.
Yeah, and the market does play a big factor in some of our decisions.
It does,
because COVID market really changed things. And I had a blue Maserati Gran Turismo, sold it at the top of the market. The white Aston, sold it at what I thought was the top of the market at that time. And that played a big factor in our numbers, and obviously the cars we have now. So yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you though, there are 2 vehicles that I regret getting rid of to this day. And if I had an opportunity to buy them back, as long as they were in the same condition I sold them in, that's the key. That's the key, right?
That's the hard part.
One of them was a Honda RC51.
Yeah.
They're a really rare motorcycle. I've had 2 of them.
Right.
I had the one that was in black and gray. I was in a relationship at the time, and the girl I was dating did not like riding on the back of the bike. And she liked riding on motorcycles, just not on the back of a sport bike. And so I ended up selling that and buying a Harley, and hated it. I bought a Harley V-Rod Muscle, and it was just not the right bike for
Harley,
me.
Man.
It was the wrong Harley. You're not wrong. It was the wrong Harley. But it was not the right bike for me. And since then, I think I sold that bike for like $7,000. I saw one on Bring a Trailer bring over 20 grand.
Right.
They're never going to make that V twin ever again, and it's just such an iconic motorcycle. The way it sounds, the way it drives, everything about it was awesome, and I did all the right things to it. The other bike that I wish I never got rid of was I was lucky enough to get my hands on Ben Bostrom's Superstock R1. It was VIN number 15502. It was literally his B bike from AMA Superbike, from Superstock, honestly.
Right.
And it was a Superstock Yamaha R1. Came with every Graves part known to man. The tank was hand built aluminum tank, and I had 2 of them. And it was one of the nicest. But it was the reason why I felt I needed to get rid of it was because it was too nice a bike for me. It was 187 rear wheel horsepower. I mean, the thing was heavy, so I'd do a track day on it, and I'd be exhausted, and I'd be like my whole, hands and everything would be white from gripping on it so hard,
Right. Trying to hold on, man.
But I mean, if I had it today, if I had the RC51 today, I'd ride it every chance I get.
Right.
If I had the Ben Bostrom bike today, I'd like drain the fluids out of it and
Just
put it
chilling
up as a showpiece, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really how that bike was meant to be, and the guy who bought it from me, he was tracking it last time I talked to him. And so I know he's enjoying it, right? I know the bike is getting to do what it was supposed to be, what's supposed to be done with that bike. So I get it, but that's one of those bikes that both those bikes, honestly, if I had an opportunity to buy them back and they were in the same state they were when I sold them, I would buy them back in a heartbeat, even at today's market prices, just because both those mean that much to me,
And see, I feel like if I ever sold the Viper, that's where I'd be 6 months later. Like, I don't care what it costs, I want it back. The motorcycles for me, I've had a bunch of motorcycles too, and my 2 Harleys that I have right now I'll probably never sell. My first the Dyna, I've had since I graduated high school,
Yeah.
and I don't ever plan to sell that bike. And then the Ultra was my dad's bike, and I bought it from him, and now it's in my collection. And I just feel like it's just he got that one when we were both like I was on a deployment, so he bought it, and then when I came home, and we rode together a lot with it, so it stays.
Yeah.
And
No,
he's
I
got
get
a
that.
collection of motorcycles, so I
So-
get this whole collecting thing naturally.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you an interesting question. The interesting question is, what's the future of collecting, right? Because I saw a joke one time that said, in 30 years, no one will be rebuilding a Tesla, right? But
Yeah.
the real question is, in 2040, will a Tesla Roadster be worth as much as a 911? Like, do we think that we're ever going to get to a point where younger generations are going to collect differently instead of collecting things like, JDMs and 90s nostalgia and resto
Right.
mods? Do you think they're going to look at, the Taycons of the world and stuff like that and want to collect those types of cars?
It's really interesting to think about that because, I've heard kids say their dream car is a Tesla, and that makes things interesting, right? I mean, still a vehicle, it's still a car, so
See,
will they have a collection of Teslas at that time? The
I don't
Cybertruck's a
know.
prime example of that. Look at I kind of think of it like the DeLorean, right? At the time, everybody was like, ugh, nobody wants that, whatever. And then now here we are, and everybody's like, ooh, a DeLorean, man, that's really cool.
DeLorean
That's
was
something
kind of
different.
ahead of its time as far as like the way it was set up. But what's really funny about it, and this is nostalgia for you, right?
Yeah.
If you go get in a DeLorean right now, it's pretty crap. I mean,
Yeah.
the windows don't go down all the way. It shifts really bad. I mean, it doesn't have a whole lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
It's not really a great car, but at the same time, it's a great car.
It's a great car.
It's a weird
Yeah.
dynamic, and I talk about this all the time. One of my dream cars is a 1970 Chevy Chevelle Super Sport.
Yeah.
And as much as I would love that car, I don't want it. I want a resto mod because I want
Right.
one that has power brakes and power steering and air conditioning, I'd even be down to have one that has the original looking radio that has Bluetooth built in, so I can Bluetooth my phone into it,
Right. And still make a trip in it and stuff,
Exactly, right? So
Yeah.
it's very interesting. But I mean, honestly, do you think that's the thing, or even better, right? What do you think is the next future classic? Is it going to be something from this era, or like some of these other cars? You and I were talking about the other day. We're starting to see a resurgence of JDM.
Yeah.
Are we going to see some of these other cars start to come back and then be future classics?
I mean, it's possible, man. And the funny thing, the other day at Cars and Coffee, a guy came and he had a 240SX that had been converted to a Sylvia.
Yeah.
And dude, just you see it and you're like instantly like, oh man, I remember when the Sylvia was just so cool,
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what else is around, and this thing is super sick. And it's super clean, awesome build. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's
let
next.
me
next in
ask
the
you
future.
this, right? I mean, let's kind of wrap it up by asking this one question.
Right.
What's your one rule to live by as a collector? Is it to go after a certain type of car? Is it not to sell things that you're emotionally attached to? I mean, what's your one rule as a collector?
I will say that I think my one rule is buy the best car that you can for the money. And just don't go outside of your means with it, right? Like try to get the best car you can for the money that fits your rules. And I know that's a rule with a bunch of rules, but the thing
Cheater.
is like, yeah. I mean, set what it is you're looking for and then go after it and try to buy the best version of it. That's not a 172,000 mile Volkswagen GTI. By the way, if anybody's asking, follow your rules.
Yeah, I think for me, it's find something that has some sort of meaning to you, right? If you're if you're planning to collect it, find something that either brings back a memory of when you first found the car, or or more importantly, buy it because it's something that you've always wanted, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, for those of you guys who made it this far into the video, right, or this far into the podcast, what's your I'll never sell car? Do you have one, right? What's your biggest regret on cars you've sold? I
Absolutely.
think that's a great question that we'd love to have an answer to. So make sure you're commenting that down below. What do you own that you'd never sell, or what did you sell that you regret to this day?
Right.
And we say this all the time, but if you guys haven't done it already, make sure you're liking and subscribing to our videos. We've been doing a bunch of this lately. We've got so much more cool content coming up. And I think you guys are going to be impressed with some of the stuff that we're going to have access to. So that'll be a lot of fun. But make sure you're liking and subscribing to our videos. Check out our socials on not just YouTube and our podcast, but also on Instagram and TikTok, because we do a bunch of fun stuff on there as well. Our future episode, our next episode that's coming up, or some of our next clips, may have something to do with a trip that one of us is about to take. So we'll see what happens. So
Absolutely.
Honestly, every car tells a story, right? Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you let go of. So, let us know if you've got a story that connects to one of the cars you've let go of.
And one of the things that I think, and I just want to end with this, one of the things that I think is the best part about car collecting is not really the cars themselves. It's the people you meet along the way.
100%. Could not agree more. Yep.
Absolutely. So either way, y'all have a good one. See y'all.
See you guys.
Peace.